News TV with Reggie Kearney and Chair Ann Tappan, bringing you news and politics. Real World News TV every Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 8:30 on the East Coast. Real World News TV, the most interactive, longest-running radio and television show under the Hot Topics Talk Radio Network. Real World News TV, where your comments and your views are welcome. Real World News TV, news for us, by us, that affects us all. Real World News TV.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a new edition of Real World News TV. I'm one of your co-hosts, Reggie Kearney, and with me, I also have my other co-host, Sharon Tappet McCabe. Just to let you all know before we get started tonight, we're only going to be on for 30 minutes tonight because of the debate. Sharon really wants to sit down and see the orange head. The guy in the White House on TV, tonight and everything. So we wanted to accommodate her tonight so she can see the debate tonight.
You're such a pain in the tuchus. It's not all about me. Lots of people want to watch it. And
but you in particular. So we're going to do a 30-minute show tonight. And basically, we just want to touch for the next 30 minutes on the Breonna Taylor case out in Louisville, Kentucky. There's been a lot of things happening over the last 24 hours, really, the last 24 to 48 hours, been a lot of things taking place. One in particular is that the county court in the county has requested that the AG for Kentucky release the transcript of the grand jury hearing. Mm-hmm. And if he didn't release it, there was a juror on the grand jury who wanted to come out and make a statement concerning the truthfulness of that grand jury inquiry. So I'm pretty sure the person just wanted to make sure that the facts were laid on the table, not the facts that the AG was spitting out. Because when you look at everything, that's going on right now, there should have been some kind of charges brought against the police officers, even if it wasn't nothing but first off, to start off with, the paperwork was screwed up. For them to put down on the paperwork that she wasn't injured, the lady's dead. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about for the next, up until 9 o'clock. So, what are your thoughts, Sharon?
I live in a perpetual state of disgust, and first of all, one thing that comes to mind is over the last 3 years, there's been this promotion of Orwellian speak, like this changing of the meaning of words. Like the word fact doesn't mean fact anymore. The AG is no longer responsible for doing thorough investigations to find out the truth and the fact of the matter. I find Daniel Cameron highly suspect. He's made it very clear in a public statement after getting the endorsement of the Kentucky fraternal brother of police that he is their advocate, he's their voice, he's there to protect them, not the people. The fact that all the witnesses who said that they did not hear the police announce themselves, only one they allowed evidence of, I don't remember if it was a sworn statement or a quote or something before the jury. So they didn't get to see the 10 or 11 other people that said we didn't hear them announce themselves. Now, granted, based on the Kentucky no-knock warrant, they weren't required to, but they knew enough that they had to cover their ass, so they lied and said that they did. And the guy who supposedly said that the police officers did identify themselves, I think his name is Sapri, they identified themselves to him because he was trying to leave his apartment. They didn't identify themselves to the people in Breonna's apartment. So again, they're obfuscating the truth. They're putting a spin on words, and it's unfathomable that in a land of the free and democracy and all of this bullshit, basically, that they can get away with this. And I have to acknowledge the only state representative in Kentucky right now that I think has an ounce of integrity, who happens to also be the only woman of color or person of color in the representative body, is Attica Scott, who proposed Breonna's law, which would eliminate the no-knock warrant. She participated in protests and, of course, was arrested afterwards. But she knows her job, and her job is to represent the people and stand for the people. No-knock warrants, stand your ground, all of this nonsense that is put in place to give the police this limitless power and authority. And I think it's disgusting. So, and the thought that the police officer that was charged was only charged not for the murder of Breonna Taylor, but because they shot into the walls of the apartment and almost killed other tenants. So the other tenants' lives may be worth something. Maybe that's a stretch, because clearly they've proven they don't care about life, but her life isn't worth borscht. The whole thing stinks of a cover-up. It's disgusting.
Well, no-knock warrants do have that place when you tell the truth. And these officers lied about the whole thing, because the U.S. postal inspector kept telling them that Breonna was not receiving any large boxes at her apartment. Okay, I think the biggest thing has been for them to try to tie her in with her ex-boyfriend. They couldn't. So you have a IG that's told you, postal inspector has told you that she's not receiving any packages that would be suspicious. Then you should leave it alone. You know, the guys completely lied about the situation. Then when it comes to that witness, he's changed his story about 3 times. Okay,
I don't know if he's changed it or if they've spun it.
No, he changed it. He changed it. He changed it. You know, so what the Kentucky AG did was he went with one voice. Okay, he found one yes out of 12, and he said, "Oh, okay, I got one person," and he went with that person. But look at who he got his training from. He got his training from the big fat guy in D.C., the United States AG. I mean, that's where if you look at what he's doing everything that's in the orange hair playbook, okay, and in Barr's playbook, okay. He had already made up in his mind that he was going to protect the police officers, okay. You know, why even go out and go to a grand jury if you already knew the outcome, okay, and everything? And this person on here said post office never said that. Look, I'm going by what I heard in the news, okay, and that's what I heard in the news was that the postal inspector told the police officers a number of times that there was no suspicious packages going to the house, okay. You know, so Dana, I'm sorry, but Tony, can you look up and Google that for me, please?
I just did, and there are a number of news sources that say exactly what you just said.
Yeah,
Louisville postal inspector said no packages of interest at slain EMT Breonna Taylor's home. But keep in mind that, unfortunately, these are the sort of people that believe all news is fake news, unless it comes from Fox or Breitbart or Info News. And I'm sorry, with all due respect, unless you yourself were there and a part of the police action, a part of the postal service that would have made this statement or not, then your opinion is just that, an opinion. And suggesting that you know something that other people don't, I think is fallacious at best.
Yeah, because the one thing I'm not going to do on this show is tell something that's not truthful, okay? I'm not going to try to spin the news, okay? So, and these officers just kept pushing. They found, and when they went to the judge, you know, when you go on a no-knock warrant, the judge is going to ask you, about your information, how you got your information, and to find out if you really need a no-knock warrant, okay?
The U.S. Postal Inspector in Louisville told Metro Police did not use his office to verify a drug suspect was receiving packages at her apartment. one of the factors listed in the officer's request for a no-knock. So they indicated in their request for a warrant that this individual was receiving suspicious packages, and the postal inspector said they did not vet this through us. So that is invented. But, you know, people who want to believe that narrative and make murder acceptable will believe anything, you know, rather than being upset that an American citizen, regardless of their ethnicity, was shot in their home on a no-knock warrant. Secondly, I agree with you that no-knock may have its place when you're dealing with a violent offender. They could have researched this more. They could have staked out the house more. There are a number of things that they could have done before they attacked this building like it was the frickin' Alamo. You know, it was negligent at best, and to sit here and have people justify it just makes no sense. Meanwhile, many of these people who justify it are part of groups that talk about wanting less government. You know, like the Bundys and the Sovereign Citizens and the Proud Boys and the Boogaloos and all of these other groups talk about reduction of government interference in their lives. This is a prime example of that. They should be up in arms marching with the protesters, but because they're too distracted by the fact that we're dealing with a Black individual, like the NRA, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then also something else happened out there too. They tried to get her ex-boyfriend to suggest and to verify and to make it clear that she was a drug dealer. Okay. Yeah. He wouldn't go there with him. Okay. So it just shows you that the police, there were certain members of that police force in Louisville that were corrupt, and they would do anything to justify them doing their job. You know, like I said, I go back to the police report. When you put down a police report that no one was, that Breonna wasn't injured and she's sitting there dying, you know, that shows a cover up. You know, that shows a cover up already.
Yeah, okay? Really.
What bothers me is that when Black people get shot or the Black people get killed by the police, you have individuals out there that see it differently. They want to see it their way. You know, like this previous person, Dana, saying that there was no, you know,
there was no cover up. We don't know everything. Basically saying it was justifiable murder.
Yeah, you know, trying to say and trying to make it seem like, you know, that the news is fake. You know, I'm getting so tired of people that are supposed to have some halfway intelligence are constantly out there talking about fake news. Okay,
100%. Now, if you listen, if you side with the majority, and the majority of the witnesses here say that there was no announcement, then basically you have what this family, what this man, with Mr. Walker and Breonna, perceived to be armed intruders. So they were standing their ground by defending their home. It makes every sense. Look, you've got homeowners that shoot people for asking for friggin' directions, and they get off, there's no problem. They feared for their life. It was stand their ground. These people have 10 people that say they did not announce. And no knock, to me, makes about as much sense as open carry. In an open carry state, I get having the ability to have permits, but to open carry and carry guns to go to Walmart or Starbucks or your entire arsenal, like your one-man army or woman, makes no bloody sense whatsoever other than to intimidate your peers. If you buy that to protect your home, then protect your home. Keep it at home. If you need to carry a piece with you, fine, I'll stretch and say, okay, if you have a permit to do so, although a lot of people seem to be idiots who are carrying guns on their person. But how the police officers are supposed to tell the difference, and it's clear that when you're dealing with a person of color who's got a gun, they can't distinguish because they don't take the time to ask if you have a permit or not. And sometimes when they do, they shoot you anyway. Mm-hmm. So open carry and and having a permit doesn't protect you as a person of color, and stand your ground doesn't protect you as a person of color in your own home. Mm-hmm. So these people like to pretend that they're arguing facts and that they're citizens, and if you just obey the law, everything is fine. and that the law is there to protect you and all of this nonsense. And that's a crock of bull. I'm going to say it for Tony because she's not on the show. That's bullshit.
And you got people like the people who just on here that are going to protect the police at all costs so the police can do no wrong. Policemen and police women aren't saints, okay? There are some good ones and there's some bad ones. And for them to come over here and say that, we align in order to protect the police officers, they got some real issues, okay? Because and I tell you, I really like what Mallory said about the AG. She took him to town. She took him to task about him and what he did and the kind of his job performance. I mean, she took him to task. Okay?
Oh yeah, it was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, she said some. I mean, if I was him, I'd just go crawl up on a rock somewhere and hide. I wouldn't even come out.
He doesn't need to crawl up on the rock. He can just go back on the ship.
Yeah, but so there are a lot of things that are coming out in there, and I'm anxious to I'm anxious to hear those tapes, okay, of the grand jury proceedings, just to see what he said and how he took a spin on what actually happened. This reckless couple who just came on here earlier, they're talking about spin. The AG spin the whole situation, okay? He did just in the way he wanted to do. He set up just the way he wanted to set up. And that's what the juror on the grand jury is talking about. They want the truth to come out because they were, and I'm obvious, and I'm just saying this as a personal opinion. I'm sure that he didn't, talk about Breonna. Because her initials were never even, everybody's initials were used except for hers. Okay.
Yeah, I was just checking out her profile to see what she's all about. And it's predictable. It's so unfortunate. I think some people genuinely believe that they're good people, but they're so friggin' brainwashed and triggered by anything associated with people of color that there is a presumption of guilt. But blue lives don't matter when they're black either. So I don't understand people like that.
Well, some people think the police are saints, okay? They're not saints, okay? That's how they feel about it, and they're going to stick to their guns, okay? Are they racist? I'm pretty sure they are. They might not be, but their ideology of what police should be, that's how they roll. The police can do no wrong. But let the police shoot one of their family members. I'm going to see how they feel then. If the police officer was to shoot they look like they're old enough to have grandkids. So what if the police officer shot one of their grandkids? I wonder how they feel then. If that grandkid was defenseless and minding their own business and had a little confrontation, and the confrontation ended up in them being shot. I wonder how they feel then that blue lives matter. I'm getting so freaking tired of certain people in our community taking Black Lives Matter to mean blue lives matter, red lives matter, ant people lives matter, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, they have forgotten what the meaning of Black Lives Matter. They don't understand the meaning.
They never knew.
Yeah, what Black Lives Matter means.
They never knew. They bought into the narrative that Black Lives Matter and Antifa are synonymous, and that they are the fascists as opposed to the regime we're operating under now.
Yeah. It burns me up too because of their actions and how they see everything, okay, and how they want to spin the narrative, okay. It just irritates me. I just get freaking irritated when they try to hijack the narrative and spin it the way they want to spin it. Okay, we had an incident here in this area, and I posted on my Facebook page where an employee walked into the I think it was the Waldorf Moose Club, okay, and came to work, okay, and the manager that saw the shirt they had on was Black Lives Matter. But as soon as I'm gonna say it because I feel like saying it. As soon as a white racist patron walked in there and saw the shirt, first thing they posted on Facebook was that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, and they couldn't even spell terrorist. But then in a later post said that it was a spell check. They just couldn't spell, but they told the president or whoever of the Moose Laws that they won't come back unless that girl was fired because the organization was terror. They fired the girl.
Same thing happened at a bank. I forget what state it was, but the bank promptly dismissed the woman. The woman had on, I think she had on a Trump mask, and somebody on staff had on a BLM mask, and she was offended by the BLM mask. Look, you've even got police officers on video going to food establishments and seeing people with BLM masks on and calling them to task and saying that they feel unsafe. Meanwhile, they're the ones that are armed. It's a freaking mask. It's a piece of fabric, and all they're doing is gaslighting. And when you look at the videos of the protests and the police officers pushing people, women, children, old people who are walking away from them, who are no threat to them, but just this notion that they have a right to enforce their will, and you're not moving fast enough, so they're going to push you on the ground, break your arm or whatever. I mean, it's really despicable. And to think that we have that many people in law enforcement who are willing to turn on the citizens that they're supposed to protect. Now, even though the Supreme Court said a number of years ago, their police officers are not beholden to protect people, but property, I don't think that their police officers who go into the force with the express notion that they're not there to protect and serve their community. But to think that so many of these people, I don't know, are they on saltpeter that are willing to do this? It's just, I don't know. But I see here that our producer has a video that she wants to play about a press release, the press conference where Tamika Mallory was speaking.
Play it, Tony.
Let's go ahead, yeah.
Play it, Tony.
Oh, maybe she's having technical difficulties. We do only have 7 minutes left.
Well, but she told her, and like I said, it's just the ignorance of a lot of our people in the community. Okay, the police department, the police departments around this country have problems, and when people, I don't give a crap when you support Blue Lives Matter. I have friends that are police officers and stuff too, but the truth is the truth. Don't try to support an organization that you're going to stand up to all the time, and even when they're wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not advocating that, officers go out and people kill them or things like that. All lives matter. Okay. But at this particular time, Black lives matter because we're the ones getting kicked to the curb by a police officer. We're the ones getting killed. Okay.
Yeah. And now they're letting these white wing militia groups that are clearly racist roam the streets and abuse the citizens who are peacefully protesting.
Yeah.
I saw one guy kick somebody in the head who was already down and walk away, and the police did nothing. Yeah. And I know somebody recently, and I'm not going to say the circumstances, but they said that there was a riot on the bridge, and oh my gosh, or are you going to so and so? And I said, first of all, it wasn't a riot; it was a protest. They were walking across. Well, because there were police involved, I assumed it was a riot. No. The police were there, as they always are when there's a protest, and it does not need to evolve into something worse. Typically speaking, it's the police that instigate that. But don't assume because people are walking across the bridge protesting a legitimate and righteous cause that it's a riot. But it was to be expected.
Yeah. We need the police, but we need the police to do the right thing, okay? Mm-hmm. That's what we need in our communities, okay? We don't need these rogue police officers like the ones in Louisville that want to take the law in their hands, excuse me, and do things the way they want to do it, okay? And then get away with, then you have an AG that green lights it, that says it's okay to do what you did, the way you did it, okay? It's not his job to protect those guys. If they break the law, they need to be dealt with.
And therein lies the problem. Therein lies the nuance that allows them to get over. Mm-hmm. What is the law? Now, the law in Kentucky allows no knock. The problem is they clearly know that they were doing something wrong because they lied about announcing themselves. And then the DA's office changed the verbiage from no knock warrant to knock and announce. I just, they didn't allow 10 other witnesses to state for the record, for the grand jury, that they did not hear the police announce themselves. I don't know about you, but if I heard police in my hallway saying, "We're the police, we're coming in," and begin to knock down a door, I'd get to the farthest corner of my apartment with my child, with my wife, or whoever's in there with me. None of the neighbors knew to protect themselves. None of them knew to get out of the house or go to the farthest corner of the house. Some of these people were almost shot inches away from their children or themselves. So no, they did not announce themselves. And that's the problem I have, because once you know that they've lied about something, they've likely lied about a lot of things.
Well, this case is not going away. Justice will be served one way or the other. It's going to happen. We're going to get justice for Breonna Taylor. It's going to take a while, but the truth will come out, and hopefully it might come out this week.
Hope so.
We're optimistic.
Yeah. So, as we told the girls when we first came on, that we're only going to do 30 minutes tonight because Sherry Ann wants to go look at the.
Excuse me, it wasn't my idea. Okay.
Sherry Ann wants to go look at the debate. So we apologize to our faithful listeners and viewers tonight.
Look, it is our obligation. It is our obligation to hear firsthand the shit that is going to come out of these people.
I'm not obligated for nothing. I can get Joe Scarborough in the morning, okay?
I want to hear it from the original source, so nobody can claim that.
Exactly.
Because the people we had earlier, Dana and those, they might jump back on here and say that Joe Scarborough lying, okay?
Exactly, which is why I want to watch it myself. Like these literally came out of his own mouth, orifice, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I did read that he asked for an earpiece. So let's look to see if he has his due covering his ears, or if he has an earpiece.
No,
he's not intelligent enough to carry it.
That wasn't the conversation. The conversation was, he said that Biden would have an earpiece in tonight. Okay.
Whenever he accuses someone else of doing something,
he also said Biden would take a shot before the debate, so he can get about 15 minutes.
Yeah, Smith's a lot, please.
Yeah, so he wants a drug test, and he wants to. He had suggested that everybody get the ears checked before they go in to make sure they don't have no earpiece.
Yeah, in typical fashion, all he does is project. When he's guilty of a sin, he accuses someone else of doing it, because then you're distracted looking this way while he gets away with the shit. He's done it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So, dear Lord.
Jesus will have a hard time with him, okay?
I don't know.
All right, Tony, take us out.
All right, so
are you going to have a debate watch party, Tony?
I don't know. I didn't want to have to run anything on this computer. I want to be able to sit and watch and pay attention and take notes
all night.
Because no, I'm not answering.
I'm going to text you all night. This shit right here.
Oh my gosh. So I'm glad that you tuned in tonight to Real World News TV with Reggie Kearney and Sherry Ann Tappan. Like Reggie said, yes, we are going to watch the debate. That's how we keep in tune with the news. You can come on back here next week on Tuesday night. And I think Kamala and Pence are debating next week. So might be a 30-minute show next week. But I'm hoping that you'll join us. Make sure that you follow Real World News TV on Facebook so that you can get notifications of all the shows and any other information that they are sharing. Tomorrow night, on Hot Topics Talk Radio. Miss Yvonne Baker will not be sitting in tomorrow night, but I have a really good friend of mine who is joining me, Fallon Chambers. So tomorrow night on Hot Topics Talk Radio, we are talking about the topic from a happy relationship to a nightmare. So Fallon and I are going to be sitting back for, that time period, 1 hour to talk about happiness to a nightmare in a relationship. So I'm hoping you'll join us. The show starts at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock on the East Coast. Make sure, like I said, follow Real World News, the show here every Tuesday night, beginning at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Central, and 8:30 on the East Coast. I'm hoping that when I get everybody cleared from the screen that this video will play. I think it's most important that you hear the words of Miss Breonna of Tamika Mallory in reference to it's heavy. Yeah. I want you to be able to hear this. So we have cut the section of the entire press conference down to just her remarks. And I'm really hoping that you'll stay just to watch that portion. So with that being said, good night, Real World News. And I will see you on Hot Topics Talk Radio tomorrow night. No, don't text me, Tara.
I'll text you. I'll be texting you. Oh, ding, 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 ding all night.
So I'm going to take you guys and I'm going to prepare this video for the viewers. Okay?
Okay.
Are we ready? Good night,
We're
guys.
ready.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Tamika Mallory.
No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! And if there ain't no justice, there ain't gonna be no justice. There ain't gonna be no. Read something to you all that I learned of just the day after Daniel Cameron's decision. More secure. Half of that statement is from Daniel Cameron. He received the endorsement of one of the most racist organizations that exists in America. I got time today.
Okay.
And half of that statement was a lie. Daniel Cameron is not here to protect the state of Kentucky safer.
Protect citizens and to make
the state of Kentucky safer. Is that he is an advocate for,
and that is that he is an advocate,
and that he was going to be their voice,
and that he
is going to be whatever is necessary to protect.
Whatever is necessary.
And so we learned that he's a man.
We learned
of his word
He's a man
as it
of
relates
his
to
word
his
as
relationship
it
to
relates
police.
to his
He
relationship
protected
to police.
the police. Those
He
same
protected
officers
the
could have ran in
police.
his mama, his
And it
black
did
mama's
not
house
matter to him
and
one bit
shot her to death.
that
He's more
those
committed
things
to
shot
the
her
white
to death.
supremacy that he is upholding.
He's more committed
He
to the
mentioned
white
at the press
supremacy
conference,
that
which I
he
thought was
is upholding.
quite interesting, that he's a
He
black
mentioned
man.
at the press conference, which I thought was
And
quite
as I
interesting,
laid
that he's a black man.
and cried and hurt
And
for
as I
Tamika
laid
Palmer
and cried
and for Breonna Taylor and
hurt
for Kenny Walker
for
and
Tamika
for
Palmer
Janiyah, who we
and
need
for
to love
Breonna
up
Taylor
on.
and for
As I laid there and I thought about him saying he's a black man, I thought about the ships that into Fort Monroe and Jamestown with people on them over 400 years ago. And how there were also black men on those ships that were responsible for bringing our people over here. Daniel Cameron is no different than the sellout Negroes that sold our people into slavery. White men to capture our people, two of them, and to traffic them while our women were raped, while our men were raped, assassinated. That's who you, Cameron. You are a coward, a sellout, and you were used by the system to harm your respect for you. No respect for your black skin, because all of our skin folk ain't our kin folk, and you do not belong. The last thing we will say is Mayor Fisher, don't get it twisted.